Hello, in this video I will show in detail the capabilities of niliBOX to handle receivers of the type Icom IC-PCR. During this video I will be using niliBOX for Windows, but all the functionalities that you will see here are also available in all the other operating systems that are supported, with the exception of iOS, which cannot connect to external hardware devices. First of all, I will show the hardware configuration that I will be using. This is my computer, which has connected a USB hub, and here I have the connections to the receivers that I will be using. I will be using a PCR1500, which is this USB cable, and also a PCR100, which is connected through this serial port cable and this audio cable. To show how this hardware configuration is seen by niliBOX, I will open the driver test module, where you can see the current hardware that is recognized. Now I will proceed to connect one by one the external devices. First, I will start by the PCR1500. It is now connected, and we can see that two USB devices have appeared. The PCM2901, which is the audio output, the audio codec, and the CP2100, which is the virtual serial port. Additionally, we can see in the audio section that two new devices have appeared. This microphone as a USB audio codec, which corresponds to this PCM2901 audio codec, and also an audio output that we will not use for this video. Also, in the serial section, we can see a new serial port, which corresponds to the UART bridge that we have connected from PCR1500. Now, I will proceed to connect this converter from serial port to USB. We can see that the new device has appeared here. This is another serial UART device, which has also created a new serial port, which is this one, USB serial port. I will now connect the serial cable to it. And finally, I will connect this audio device with USB interface, which I will use to get the audio from the PCR100. We can see that it is now here. It is this audio adapter from Unitech, and additionally, in the audio section, we have one new microphone corresponding to the USB audio device, and a new audio output called speakers, also USB audio device. And now I will connect the audio cable to it. And now we are ready to start loading and configuring receivers. I will now go to the settings module, devices section, and proceed to add new modules. As I said before, in this video I will use PCR100 and PCR1500. I don't have a PCR1000 with me, but essentially the functionalities of this receiver is something in the middle, in between 100 and 1500. Regarding connectivity, it is similar to 100, serial port and audio output, and the commands are quite similar to the ones from 1500. I will first set up a 1500. And here we select the serial port, which is this one here, the one that comes from the USB UART. And as audio device, audio input device, I will use the microphone USB audio codec. The input gain, we can leave it at 100. I will explain this a bit later, and I will call it PCR1500. We are now ready with this receiver. And now I will set up the PCR100. The configuration is very similar. We select here the USB serial port, which is the adapter from serial port to USB, and as audio input I will use USB audio device, not the USB audio codec, which is the one from PCR1500. I didn't mention in 1500 there is one additional configuration, which is local audio. If you click on this, then there will be audio output from the receiver itself, not through the computer. So now I will save the configuration. And if we go to devices, we can see, oops, I forgot to put the name for the PCR100. I will go quickly and call it PCR100. Save, and now it is already there. So now we have here our two receivers configured, 1500 and 100, and I will proceed now to show the functionalities. To do that, I will use the module for 1500, which is more complete, and then later on I will explain the differences in 100, what is missing in 100. I will open, and here it is. Here you can see that this module is for Icom receivers and specifically for IC-R1500 or PCR1500. It doesn't matter which one of them, what version you have, because the operation is exactly the same. And now I will proceed to explain the functionalities of each one of the controls available in this interface. The first one here is the power button, which is used to start the receiver. It shows green if the receiver is available. If the receiver is not available, it's not connected, or it is turned off like this, then the power button will show red and it is not available. I will connect it again if I can find it. Yes. And you will see that now it is green again. I will turn it on, and then when it is on, this power button turns blue. The next section to the right is the audio output section. Here you can select the audio output from your computer that you want to use. If I select my speakers, then we can hear the sound, but if I select any other, then it will go to that other audio output. There is a special audio output which is null. When you select this one, you can continue operating the receiver as usual, but there will be no audio output. This button here is to set the audio settings. Here, okay, I will turn this. Here you can select the sampling frequency between 8 kHz and 48 kHz. By default, it is 32 kHz. The sampling bits, 8 bits, 16 bit and 32 bit. I recommend 32 bit unless if you are running in remote operation, which you could benefit using lower sampling bits, the same as a lower frequency of sampling. And this is compression. Also useful if you are in remote mode. If you are sampling at 32 bit, you can select a compression to 16 bit of 8 bit of the audio that is transmitted from the remote computer to the local one. If you are in local mode, as we are now, the normal way to operate is no compression, 32 bit and 32 kHz of sampling frequency, or higher if you want better quality. And the last control that we have here is audio gain. I will make a parenthesis now here to explain how the different audio gains work in niliBOX. To do this, I will use this diagram and I will explain you how it works. In this diagram, I have represented the Icom receiver, the PC, which is the blue box, representing the audio input and the audio output, and the speaker. Inside the PC, we have niliBOX running, which is the orange box. And inside niliBOX, we have the module that is handling the receiver. You can see several audio gain controls here. In total, there are 5 different audio gain controls that you can set. The first one, the control number 1, is the gain, the audio output gain of the receiver itself. And this is the one that you can control with this AF gain here. This is controlling directly the gain of the receiver. The second one is the audio input gain to your computer. This can be controlled not through niliBOX, but through your computer itself. In Windows, you just go to the audio settings, more volume settings, and if you go to the input, you will find here an audio input, which is the microphone USB audio codec. You can see that there is activity because it is coming from the radio receiver. If I turn off the receiver, then the activity will stop. Now I turn it on again and it is there. So here you can set the audio input level to your computer from the receiver, which is this second audio input. The third audio level control is this one, number 3, which is the audio input from the computer to niliBOX, to the module itself. This is the one controlled when you set up the module. If I go to 1500, it is this one here. This input gain is the input gain from the computer to the niliBOX module handling the receiver. I recommend to keep this 100% and work with the other ones. The control number 4 is the output from the niliBOX module to the computer, and this is what you can set in this one here. I also recommend to set this one at a 100% because you can still work with the other audio volumes or audio levels. But you can see that if I remove the mute, here we can also control the gain, as well as with this one. So I will leave it at maximum. And finally, the last audio level control, number 5, is the audio output level of the PC to the speakers. And this is controlled also in this from the computer itself, depending on your operating system, and it is this volume here, the typical volume of the computer. And this is all what you need to know about audio levels with niliBOX. At the right of the audio configuration section, we have these other buttons which are used to control what we want to visualize. Each button corresponds to one panel that we can expand to see the contents. We have the band scope panel. We have the band spectrogram panel, which is a waterfall representing the audio spectrum in the band scope. We have the audio representation in time, the audio representation in frequency, and finally a spectrogram of the audio signal in frequency too. Additionally, we have one more panel, which is the tools panel, available here. We will go through all these panels later on. So now I will remove all these additional panels except the band scope so that we can see what we are doing, and I will continue explaining all the controls here in the main section. This control here, this knob, is to control the tuning frequency. This type of controls, the knob, can be seen in many other places in niliBOX. All over the place you can find knobs, and they all work exactly in the same way. So I will make a little parenthesis here to explain how the knob can be used. First of all, you can click on it and simply turn it at one side or another. I will increase the step here so that we can see how it increases, how the band scope is moving. You can also use your mouse wheel. Now I'm turning up and down my mouse wheel, and the knob will also turn accordingly. Finally, if you want to move faster in frequency, you can double click on it, and then it will enter in a mode where you can simply click on the knob, and when you move your mouse to the right or to the left, it will turn the knob accordingly. And I will also show two other ways to change the frequency in niliBOX without using the knob. You can simply type on your keyboard a frequency. The dot is to separate megahertz, And if I click like this, you see that the frequency is changed immediately. If you don't have a keyboard, so if you are running on a mobile device, you can also click on the frequency and you can type any frequency there. Now I'm going to continue through the other controls. Here we have the band selectors, which is the usual ones in any kind of receiver. We have AM, lower sideband, upper sideband, CW, FM, and wide FM. Also, we can select here the filter frequency, the modulation frequency. It depends on what band are you using. The different filters available will change. This is similar to what you get if you are using the Icom software for this type of receiver. I will move to WFM 230 kHz. I need to say that for this video I will be using this frequency, which is a local frequency that I have set up. So there is a little radio station here at home where I'm broadcasting some voice to avoid copyright issues. You can see that this is pure voice. This set of buttons here to the right correspond to different functionalities of this receiver. If you have used this receiver before, you should be familiar with them. Specifically, they are the voice squelch control that you can use to mute non-voice signals. You have automatic frequency control to correct small frequency drifts on the received signal. I think that it is only available in AM and CW. You have the noise blanker to remove short duration pulse noise. You have attenuation, which usually introduces 10 dB attenuation in the input signal. And finally, you have automatic gain control to apply automatic gain to the incoming signal. And now I will explain the functionalities of these controls in this area here. We have already used this one. This is the audio gain. With it, we control the output gain of the receiver itself. With this button, we mute the sound. Then we have this other one, which is a squelch, the typical squelch. Above this level, the audio is cut. And with this other button, which is for monitor, we disable the effect of the squelch. Let's put it back to normal. This is IF shift. With this control, we can apply a little shift in positive or negative to the tuning frequency, in case that the receiver is not completely calibrated. And with this button, we move to 0 IF shift. This is the step that is applied to the frequency changes. Now it is at 30 kHz. If we put it at 100, for instance, then the step will be 100. And this step can be changed from something as big as 10 MHz at as low as 1 Hz. And in this case, I will put it in 100 kHz by now. And I will retune to the original frequency. And finally, these two controls here to set memories and banks. In niliBOX, we have 1000 banks containing up to 1000 memories, each one of them. The way how we set it up, I will start with memory, is that we move to a memory that is not in use. For instance, I will go to memory 1. Then we click on this button to set the memory. We set a name for it. For instance, memory 1. And we press here. And now the memory is set. If we move to a memory that is not in use, like this one, nothing will happen. I will change now to another frequency. This one, AM, different filter, and now I will set this again as another memory. Set. And now when I change the memory, you can see that it tunes automatically to the frequency, band, and filter that was set up. To delete one memory, just move to it, press on set again, and press on the delete button. And now this memory is no longer there. The banks is very similar. You can go to any bank, bank 0 for instance, apply a name to it, for instance FM radio. You press to set it, and now you can see that bank 0 is FM radio. If I move to this memory 1, this memory 1 belongs to bank 0. If I change to another bank, then memory 1 is not there. Only if we change to that bank. To delete a bank, open the settings and press on the erase button. With this button, we are only erasing the name of the bank. The bank is still active. You can see that if I move to another frequency, I stay on bank 0, and if I move to memory 1, the one that I set before, it is still there. If we want to delete all the memories inside the bank, then we need to go to this button again in the bank that we want to erase and click on this button, erase memories. It will take some time because it is deleting the 1000 possible memories available, and now they are gone. If we go, you can see that here in memory 1 there is nothing. And now let's go with the different visualization panels available. We have already seen and used the band scope panel. Here we can change the span, so how wide we will see the band scope. You can see how it changes. You can go up to 10 megahertz. And also you can use this panel to change the frequency. You can see that when I move my mouse over this panel, the frequency is here. The center frequency is the one that is tuned, 98.5. But if I go to somewhere else in the panel and I click on it, then I will be tuning in that frequency. Check that if I click again in this frequency, I move back to 98.5. We can also, if I increase the span a little bit, we can also drag in this band scope to change frequencies. I will move up to find some other stations. Here they are. These are the commercial stations in this area, and you can see how we can easily move from one frequency to another. I will go back to 98.5. You see how it is tuned. I will now go back. I will put back the span to 400 kilohertz, which is the default. Then we have the band spectrogram. This is a waterfall showing the band scope in time. With this control here, delay, we can select how fast the band spectrogram goes down. You can see that as I increase the delay, it moves slower and slower. The default is 0. This one here is to show the audio signal in time. There is nothing that we can control here. This is just visualization. With this one, we can see the audio signal in frequency. Here you can see. And with this one, we can see also the audio output in frequency in waterfall mode, in spectrogram mode. There is not many things to change here. You can see that in the spectrogram we have the same control to set how fast it will move. And I want to call your attention in this panel here, the audio in frequency mode. We can use this to filter the audio. Let me put back the audio. If you click on filter, then you can change. You can use these controls to filter the output, the audio output. You can see how it is filtered now to this band. If I change from pass to reject, then the filter will act the opposite. It will reject in this band. This could be useful to disable certain noise or certain frequencies that you're not interested on. And now let's have a look at the tools section. I will remove a few panels to see it more clearly and open the tools. You can see that there are different sections in this panel here. The first one is DSP. It will only work if you have installed the DSP module on your receiver. If this is the case, you can activate it and you have the option to use the adaptive notch filter ANF and also the noise reduction included in this DSP module. The next section is for tone squelch and digital tone squelch. It will apply squelch when the tone frequency is detected, or in the case of digital tone, when the digital code is detected. If you select reverse action, then the behavior will be the opposite and the squelch will be applied to all codes except the one that is selected, both for digital and analog tone squelch. In the case of digital, you also have the option of reverse polarity. The next section is for scanning. I don't have enough frequencies available to make a real scanning, but I will show how it works. To start a scanning section, first you need to select if you want to scan a certain range of frequencies or a certain range of banks where you have already stored your frequencies. In the case of a range of frequencies, you need first to set the initial frequency. You just tune it and press the button from, and then you tune the final frequency and you press the button 2. Now here we have the range. Second step is to select what step are you going to use for this scanning. What is the squelch level that you want to use to consider that it has found a certain frequency, and what is the delay? That means what will be the speed, how fast the scan will be done. Now if I press on start, you will see that it is going through this range of frequencies in steps of 10 kHz and it is not finding any because the squelch is not reached. If I reduce the squelch level, then it will start finding stations and adding them to the memory in the bank where we are positioned now. You can see how the memory is changing when it is finding new frequencies. But this is not real, of course. I will stop it here. And in the same way, if you want to make a scan of memories that are already stored in banks, you can select from what bank to, for instance, to bank 2. Now it will scan all the memories stored in banks 0, 1, and 2. And the rest works in the same way. It is going through the different memories available, which by the way are the ones that we already stored in the previous scan. And it will try to find memories there. When you are scanning by bank, when a memory is found with a frequency with signal, then the scan will stop for a certain moment. And finally, we have the record section. Here you can record the audio output. I will move to 98.5 again to have some sound there. And now you can start recording. You can see that it creates a new file. There was already one file here available from a previous video. You may have several. If I stop this recording and start a new one, then you will see that we have 3. You can see how the size of the file is increasing and also the time that is recorded. If you press on the button squelch, then the recording will stop if the signal is below the squelch level. You can see that it has stopped here. If I reduce the squelch now, it will restart. The recorded files can be handled from this section too. You can delete them, or if you wish, now we have only one, you can save it to your computer.
husdyr, så det for det første en let bytte at hoppe ind i en
And with this section, we have finished to look at all the functionalities of this module for PCR1500. Now I will stop here and will open the module for PCR100, where we can see that it is very, very similar, a bit more simple. There are less options, but the basic ones, the ones provided by niliBOX, are the same. You have the top row of controls with the same type of panels. These controls here are also the same. The frequency knob is exactly the same behavior, and of course you can see as PCR100 can handle less bands, only AM, FM and WFM. We have this option here for automatic noise limiter to suppress impulsive noise, and the same as with 1500 attenuation to reduce 10 dB in the input signal. The filters are also adapted to the bands as before. If I start this receiver, you will see that the band scope is a bit different. It is not as accurate with 1500 or 1000. I will now go to my frequency and you will see that there is no noise, and this is because PCR100 cannot output audio if the band scope is active. If I remove it now we have audio available. This is important to understand, that if you have the band scope, then there is no audio output. You can see how it comes back when I remove the band scope. Finally, if we have a look at the tools section, you can see that this is also a subset of what we saw in 1500. You have tone squelch, we have the same scanning tool with the same behavior, and we also have record. To finalize this video, I also want to show you how can you open several receivers at the same time if you have them. I will keep this one open, and now I will open the 1500 and start it at the same time. You can see that they can both be active, and if you pin the left panel, you can easily switch from one to the other. Additionally, if you want to have the two of them visible, then you can close one of them. I will leave 1500 here, and as I'm showing also in the video for multi-instance of niliBOX, you can open a new instance, put it also in a screen, open devices, and you can see that PCR100 is here available, and you can start it, and you can tune again. In this one, you can use the two of them at the same time, of course, also with audio.
Gjort, at Donald Trump har været ude at sige med vanlig optimisme, tror jeg godt man kan sige uden at fornærme ham.
So with this,
at han faktisk
we can say that we have finished showing all the functionalities available for the Icom receivers in niliBOX.